hear you're ready for your dose of reality.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Cold Case Files. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the lead investigator, the important one, Mr. Mayhem. And in all the years we've analyzed wrestling, either being a professional wrestler or doing the Dr. Quack podcast, seldom have I ever seen a more obvious case of stolen valor than the person that we're investigating today, Torrie Wilson.
Yeah, we're going to go over her career, her highlights.
Yeah, that's unfair to people who've had a career to say she had a career.
Yes. So, yeah, let me get started with this. I mean, she had two gimmick names, okay? Her first one, which is probably rarely known, is Samantha. And then she was Torrie Wilson. Samantha was... basically, she was brought in, she was Miss Galaxy. She came backstage to a show on Nitro in '99, and then the NWO used her to try to get at David Flair to help out with the feud between Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair.
Yeah, and she also was asked to go out with Scott Steiner to the ring. Kevin Nash wanted to do some business with her, so... that's how she got involved, because she was pretty and she was brought backstage by her boyfriend, but that doesn't make a wrestling career. So let's move on now to talk about, we've covered Samantha enough. She was a blip.
Right.
Let's go on to Torrie Wilson.
Because basically she took some time off. She was escorting David Flair to the ring as Torrie Wilson. She was also, during that time of WCW, this was the Vince Russo era, as I call it. You know, you had, she was managing Shane Douglas. She was she was a Filthy Animals member. Basically, she was playing second fiddle throughout the early stages of her career.
Yeah, we've touched on her lightly during our Bash at the Beach 2000. She was involved in the double, triple turn nut shot match that was Shane Douglas and Mark Bagwell, Buff Bagwell. But she went into a feud with David Flair because her, at that time, boyfriend, who became her husband for a while, Billy Kidman, was a part of the Filthy Animals, and she was seen backstage with Billy Kidman. That set up a very horrible feud with David Flair over the U.S. title.
Yeah, and ironically, after that Bash at the Beach match, she was actually released from WCW. She came back a little bit later in WCW, just in time to be sold to the WWF.
Yeah, and they started her. She was one of the first people that was revealed in the initial invasions, where you would have one person. The very first was Lance Storm that came out there for the invasion, and she was part of the initial assault, if you could call her contribution an assault. It was more of an assault on the eyes, because while she's very, very beautiful woman to look at, her acting skills are below D level.
Yeah, I mean, she was involved in Survivor Series where they had the bra and panties match there. Of course, she didn't win that. But she also won her first bra and panties match individually by beating Stacy Keibler. She was involved in paddle on the pole matches and all sorts of gimmick matches in general.
So let's talk about a couple of good things. We've kind of already crushed her before we've even gotten into her lack of accomplishments. We do want to we're not poo-pooing, because she is a strong, powerful woman. Miss Galaxy, she's done a lot for fitness. She's overcome anorexia and bulimia as a teenager. That's a very, very good accomplishment. It's something that should be admired and respected. She has accomplished that. She has been a positive role model for women as far as get involved in the community, get involved with helping out your causes. She's a member of Helping Pets. She cares about animal rights. So she's done a lot of great things to help the community. But what we're focusing here on is her lack of empathy, or lack of information, and her lack of accomplishment in the world of professional wrestling. That's where we feel she is lacking.
Yeah.
Not in her overall body of work, in her interests and accomplishments in wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, she went on and she had a big feud, probably the highlight of her career. She had a big feud with Dawn Marie, also involving her real-life father, Al Wilson.
And the thing that we've noticed about all of the things that she has done in wrestling, she's always been the second fiddle. Even in her feud with Dawn Marie, her dad was a bigger star than she was. Nothing that she has done in her wrestling career. She seconded David Flair. She seconded Billy Kidman. She was even second to her dad. She's not Hall of Fame. She is a good second, but not a Hall of Famer.
Right, let me continue here. She was involved in the first stepdaughter-stepmother match at the Royal Rumble in 2003.
Forgot that. I purposely didn't write that down. Thank you.
I know. I wanted to make sure the fans know. I try to do my investigation as best I can here. Because let me tell you, Torrie Wilson really, I'm gonna point out some other highlights here. Let me just move on to this. Because in 2003, she had one of the most downloaded matches of all time, was Torrie Wilson and Sable in a bikini match.
Yeah, but she's even second fiddle to that, because everybody downloaded it because Sable had pasties of hands covering over her breasts, and that was her idea of a bikini. She was second fiddle because everybody wanted to see Sable and see if there was a nip slip. It wasn't because Torrie Wilson was on that card.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Torrie Wilson did win that. That was the thought there. She ended up managing Billy Gunn later in her career. I will point out, this is one big fact, but this does not really qualify for Hall of Fame. She is 3-0 at WrestleMania. She won a tag team evening gown match. She did end up taking care of Stacy Keibler in that, getting the victory. She had a Playboy pillow fight match, beating Candice Michelle, and at WrestleMania 25, she beat Santina Morella.
Those are all such riveting accomplishments. I will say this, she's already won up on our last month's review of Coco Beware. Coco Beware is 0 for the century in WrestleMania reviews. 3-0 right there. Virgil, who's 2-0, who's not in the Hall of Fame. So, as he said before, having a perfect record in WrestleMania isn't an automatic entrance into the Hall of Fame.
No, I mean, that was like her big ordeal. She ended up retiring in 2008. She did stints where she came back throughout the years for a few minor things. She entered the Women's Royal Rumble a couple times here recently. But outside that, I mean, what has she done?
Yep, and as we said in our Coco Beware review, we're looking at the body of the wrestling work. We're not talking about, again, about her caring for animals and fighting for animals' rights. We're not talking about her being a powerful woman outside the wrestling world to young girls on how to overcome eating disorders. We're talking about wrestling, and you had something very important to add.
I do, and this is a huge stat. This is something that I believe really kind of takes the cake. Zero championships in the women's division during the Diva time, okay? Harvey Whippleman won the women's title.
Santina.
Yeah, Santina did get the women's title. I'm like, come on, seriously?
Terry Runnels, 3-time hardcore champion.
Yes, you couldn't even win the 24/7 title. Thank you, Kelly, for making that victory. She also won the Divas title. You're telling me you couldn't even get one championship under your belt?
I think we've covered it enough. We could talk about the lack of accomplishments all day. Again, posing in Playboy doesn't get you in the Hall of Fame. China, thank you. So, what's your opinion on Torrie Wilson? So, let's give the vote. Torrie Wilson is you do not deserve to be in this Hall of Fame. You are a great role model for women, but again, you are not a WWE Hall of Famer in the opinion of the Dr. Quack podcast.
My co-host sentiments are right there. I mean, pretty much you can't disagree with it, but I'd like to know if you do. If you can, write in the comments if you think she deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I really want to know, because I can't find anything. I can't find anything.
Couldn't find anything at all. So we're going to switch roles here. We cut down a couple of people here, and we talked about it. We pulled the name out of the hat. I want to have the honor of suggesting this person. Next time on the Cold Case, we're going to look at somebody who does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, in our opinion, and that person is WWF President, former Jack Tunney.
Whoa.
Jack Tunney, amazingly and shockingly, is not in the WWE Hall of Fame. We're going to look and find out why.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to do some investigating to see if he deserves to be in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you check out our episodes later in the week. You're going to have WrestleMania 14 coming out. And we still have our interview here that'll be on Wednesday with Christopher Barry D. We're going to be talking about serial killers.
Serial killers. We're going to talk about mass murders. We're going to talk about what makes them tick, what doesn't make them tick. And for those of you that are working your way through the independent circuit, we're going to ask him how you build rapport and try and connect with the crowd so they remember you as a wrestler.
Yeah, make sure you check out his books. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. Follow us next time on The Cold Case. Follow, like, share, subscribe.
And I'm out.